If you're a Bethesda fan, they brought pretty much every franchise you could think of, including Rage, to their E3 2018 conference, and that is the topic today on the pause menu. I'm Corey. This is Chris. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. But we have a lot to talk about because Bethesda, they basically outlined the next 80 years.
They brought everything.
Right.
Like,
I mean, yes.
everything.
Right. So I think we need to start where they started with Rage 2. So this was still, I mean, there was that Walmart leak, and they even talked about that on the stream. Rage 2 is kind of the one, that's why a lot of people were saying, well, this is clearly fake. But no, this game is real, and in my opinion, I think it might have been the best game they showed. Like, that game looks really freaking cool.
It looks good. I like to say it's like, it looks like it plays like Doom. In like
a faster.
In a big open world.
Yeah.
You know, and it looks like if that kind of mechanic system can just go great, you know. Yeah. He was moving so fast.
And it's like Doom is very much close quarters most of the time. Mm-hmm. But this one is, I got sort of Bulletstorm vibes, whereas Bulletstorm had a couple more different like fantasy style enemies. With this, they only showed basically other humans at this point. But I mean, just the way he was moving and like the way the guns kind of felt, it looked really heavy. Like everything like hit hard, and that's kind of like this is a weird comparison, but it reminds me of Killer Instinct. Like Killer Instinct, every single hit, like you feel it, and that's something that I was like, wow, like this is. I feel like this is a game made for me. Like this is the type of shooter that I'm like, dude, this is what I want to play.
Now, do you think it's going to relate to Rage 1 in any kind of way?
Like, it does. From the trailer, I mean, it does, but it's like. It's kind of one of those like unspoken things where they're just going to kind of pretend like that game happened, but this is a completely different
Exactly,
game.
because I was talking to another friend who was disappointed with Rage 1, and he was like, well, is it really going to keep falling off of Rage, the first Rage? Which, you know, I never played Rage, so I can't really say anything myself.
Yeah,
but
the story was the problem with the first Rage. That game played extremely good. Yeah. But no, like spoiler alert, I guess. The end of it just sort of ends, and there isn't really an ending to it except. Now I might be making this up, but I think the meteor crashing was the end of the first game. Like you just kind of go in this thing and it just ends. So, but no, like I mean, but this like that game didn't really have skill trees. It didn't really have it had driving and stuff in it. But this one seems to really be like they took, like you said, like it seems to be doing the shooting and Avalanche seems to be doing the driving, and they're just kind of slamming it together. Yeah. So, but no, that was a really cool trailer. I hope it is that smooth, at least on consoles. I hope they're aiming for 60 frames with it being an id game. I'm hoping that it probably will be, but it might not be. But like that game looked really cool.
Now, I mean, it looks fun. It looks beautiful. I mean, the graphics just for the colors popping out like in this desert kind of scenario. I mean, it's amazing. I feel like it gives us that Bulletstorm feel just because the weapons, in some sense. Like, I remember him throwing, like, this kind of...
The wing stick.
Yeah, gravitational pull weapon, though. Mm-hmm. Like, he brought two people together. Like, that's very Bulletstorm. Oh, yeah. And I hope there's a lot more weapons that are kind of similar to that in this game, you know? But, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's a game I'm going to get into. But I felt that way playing Doom.
Sure.
And that's probably my favorite first-person shooter. I mean,
it's
so good.
So let's talk about it. They unveiled Doom.
You know what? Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised at all. Especially because I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm like batting 1,000 this year in terms of predictions. I was like, I feel like this Bethesda conference, they've already released everything. Like, so they had to kind of, prepare themselves and show everything that they're working on. I wasn't surprised it showed up, and I wasn't surprised that it was just a teaser, and they're going to talk more about it at QuakeCon, because the first Doom was actually shown at QuakeCon as well. Mm-hmm. And that makes sense. Like, that's an id game. QuakeCon is still a thing. So, but what I guess the part that I didn't expect was, this is kind of nitpicky, but they didn't call it Doom 2. It's Doom Eternal.
Nothing is called 2 this E3.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no number if it's a sequel. Yeah. Some kind of pattern going on.
So, but the name is weird, Doom Eternal. Like that just
what does that mean?
Well, one, it doesn't flow very well. But it appears to be Doom to Hell on Earth. Like they teased it being on Earth. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But what I love about this team is that, and they proved it with the first Doom, is they get it. Like they understand what makes Doom. And even though that teaser was 15 seconds, it had everything. It had the Return of the Arch file. It had the paint element. Mm-hmm. It had the double barrel. Like
had Doom guy.
Yeah, that 15 seconds was just, again, like it gave me chills. Like this is my all-time favorite franchise, so I was gonna be excited no matter what. But again, it feels like they respect that franchise, and so I'm pumped for it. Like that's by far my favorite reveal.
Again, I'm happy how they're just busting this content out. I mean, maybe see this game in 2019, maybe later.
I hope so.
You know,
if it is, the only thing is Rage is coming out Q1 of 2019. So if it is coming out, I feel like you got to space those games apart. But yeah, but I wonder if they're going to give us the date at QuakeCon, and QuakeCon's only in August. It's not that far away.
Was Doom the game? They mentioned that they were going to show more at QuakeCon.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's got to be so lot more than what they showed.
Yeah,
at E3.
and so the one tidbit they did say is twice as many demons, and I don't remember off the top of my head how many demons there were. There's about 10 or 11, so probably about 20 to 22.
I wonder if they're going to add in their new variations or something like that, or if they're going to stay strictly with Doom lore.
I thought it was weird that they are bringing back the Archvile, and I feel like they're going to have to change him a lot because the Summoner basically replaced the Archvile. So, like, I feel like they're going to put their own spin on it, which they clearly have. But Marty was very, adamant about saying, like, we heard you, but also we have new things to show you. So that makes me believe it's not just demons. Like, I wonder how they're going to try to amp up that gameplay.
Sure.
And I'm pumped. Like, I will be watching QuakeCon, and the difference is also when they showed off Doom at QuakeCon, it wasn't streamed. That was the thing. That was a big thing they wanted. They said we don't want this to leak, and somehow it didn't leak. I don't know how it didn't, but they said specifically we will be streaming it this time. So that means that I'm hoping that's a sign that this game is far along. But no, I'm pumped. Like that was a really cool 20 seconds, and the music was there, and it was just like and this is me being kind of a jerk and elitist, but I was like, I feel like that should have been a bigger deal. You just kind of stuck it in the middle. Yeah. And then they were just kind of like, okay, see ya. And I was like, man, like, I feel like you should have opened with that then.
I feel like at this point, it's like, we know that it's coming. Sure. So, I mean, maybe it's not as a big surprise, but like, you were just ready to have another good time, But, I mean, unfortunately, with Bethesda, Doom's great, but it's not their headliner.
It should be, though. Like, that game blew everyone's expectations, out of the water. I agree. So. But no, like it's still the fact that it even exists is just it's awesome as a fan. So then they did show some stuff that looks good, but I don't think we're too much into. They showed the Prey DLC. I wasn't a huge fan of Prey. I'm sorry.
The DLC looks like something that could bring you back into it, though.
Yeah, for sure. The DLC looks interesting because I think the good parts about that game was the skill tree. And it seems like that sort of roguelike DLC that would be really cool. If I owned the game, I would probably buy it, but I don't. No. So
does Prey play like that? Again, I didn't play Prey. Like if you die, do you start back from the beginning?
No.
So they really strictly showed that in this new DLC, which would take a new take on it. It would probably be frustrating if you ask me. If that's the case, if you die, you got to go back to start.
But that's people that played that game. They would play through it multiple times to sort of experience the game in different ways.
Sure.
My problem with that game was you can't play that game jack of all trades, and I tried doing that, and I didn't know that, so that's why I didn't like that game. So the fact that you can sort of like it seems like this DLC is sort of kind of tuning into that of saying like try it this way, now try it this way without having to start a whole new game and all that. So it seems like they listen to the fans.
Did we need a multiplayer? I mean, a hunt. Which I think it kind of reminisces of like Gary's mod because there's like something out like that where you can hide as an item and one team hides, I take it the other team scouts.
Right.
We didn't need it, but they're giving to us, so that's great.
It's interesting that they're doing that because this game didn't have any form of multiplayer. Yeah. And it's weird that they're adding a multiplayer to a game that, from what we understand, didn't sell very well. Sure. So it's weird. But
again, they're supporting it, which is good. I mean, they're supporting the fan base behind Prey, and it's not like they just dropped it and move on. Right. That was like the theme at this Bethesda conference. Like, no matter what it was, they're supporting it.
Yeah, there was something for you. So the other one is Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is they didn't say if it was DLC or if it was like the Old Blood. Yeah, because the Old Blood was originally a DLC pack for Wolfenstein, the original. But then they spun it out into its own thing. Sure. And to me, I feel like that's what they're going to do because this is like almost completely different. You play as BJ Blazkowicz's twins, spoiler alert, in the future. So like this game does have a time hop. So for that to sort of tie in seems kind of weird. But they're adding co-op for the first time. Yeah. So that's cool. Wolfenstein 2 really, that game was extremely disappointing to me. Yeah. So we'll see. I will probably get this because I'm a huge Wolfenstein fan. But I don't know, like they've kind of shaken my trust in them a little bit, so I need to see a lot more of this before I get super excited. But it looks cool.
But now you can play it with a friend.
That's true. I wonder. It's weird if they're gonna focus on co-op. I wonder how long this is gonna be, because the Old Blood was only about 5 or 6 hours. So that's my only thing is if it's. I don't know. Like I just don't know if those games need co-op. Like it's almost like if you had co-op to Doom. I just feel like that's not. It just wouldn't work right. But maybe I'm not sure. So. Then there was also Elder Scrolls Legends, which is their card game. They announced this.
It's been out for a while now, hasn't it?
Kind of. Jeff Gerstmann actually made a really good point about this, and I didn't even pick it up. He was like, so the guy comes out and he says, "This is the best card game ever."
He does say that.
And then he says, "But we're gonna reboot it." Like, and I was just like, I didn't even make that connection. So is it really the best card game? But no, I've actually never played it. I like collectible card games, but there's just so many now. I was a Hearthstone guy for a while, but they are bringing it to consoles, all of them, Switch 1 and 4. So maybe that'll be enough to kind of push me to play it. But I don't know, that trailer...
To me...
There's
I don't know if I care for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I care for the game. Like, because I was, as soon as they said you can download it on your phone, I was like, all right, I was going to download it. And it was like, there's a lot of gigs. And then actually watching the trailer, like, it maybe it just doesn't look something special to me.
Right.
Like, I just don't get it.
The trailer didn't really focus on the game. And selling a card game...
people playing the game.
Right. Selling a card game is extremely difficult. Like, how do you make a trailer that makes it feel different? That trailer didn't do it. That trailer just wasn't good. So... When it comes to the Xbox or the Switch, I think the Switch is probably the right answer. And from what it sounds like, you can play it on all of them and your account carries over. So you don't have to worry about like starting on Switch and not being able to, so that's kind of cool. But I think it does need a visual overhaul. And I think that is the right choice because it just looks like a card game. Like it doesn't look like a Bethesda style game. It doesn't look like a Skyrim game or like it just looked like a card game. And so I think that's a big problem for me. But
I honestly think there's too many card games these days. Like it's honestly probably the success of Blizzard's
Hearthstone.
I don't know why I forgot that. But like ever since that, now you have Smite has a card game, Gwent, you have Legends, like
and Dota's making one too. So there's a lot, there is. And it's hard. Like you can't. I don't know if it's possible to play all of them. Like they require time and commitment. So
they do.
But I think I am a Bethesda fan, but I'm a Bethesda fan not for Elder Scrolls or Fallout. I'm one of those weird people, so maybe that's why it doesn't speak to me. But no, so we'll probably give it a try. But another game we didn't really. Neither one of us play is ESO. They announced the summer DLC.
But we can now.
We can on Game Pass. Yes.
Yes.
So it's 100 gigs though.
I'm still kind of excited.
Yeah. But I actually did play ESO when it came out.
I remember that.
Yeah. So
back when it was restricted.
It wasn't fun. Like that's the best way to say it. ESO had a very bad launch.
Supposedly they made it so much better.
Right, and that's all you hear is that they've made significant changes to it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I wonder how much that Game Pass version. Because they've made a lot of DLCs, and I'm sure it doesn't come with the DLCs.
I'm pretty sure it's the base.
Yeah, so I wonder how much of those how much those changes have affected the original kind of base game of it.
Yeah.
So no, I'm interested to try it out. The 100 gigs is the problem. Like
it's a lot.
Yeah, like and we do have internet caps and all that fun stuff. So it's like I have to watch my internet this month. But no, I do want to download it and give it a shot. Because when my biggest problem with ESO is that it felt like an MMO, which is a weird thing to say, but sure. Like it felt like just any other MMO, and I was like, I kind of just want to play like a Skyrim game with my buddy. And from what I understand, you can sort of do that now. Like if you want to do big things, you can. If you want to do small things with your friends, you can. So if I can do that, then I'm sold. But yeah. But they also announced they're bringing back werewolves for the the holiday update. So I think they said 11 million players now. So it's quite a lot. So definitely. It seems that fan base has nothing but good things to say. So, but I guess we kind of got to move into the big three. Fallout 76. It's Fallout with a friend.
How long was Todd Howard on that floor for?
30 minutes probably.
And it felt like forever.
Yeah.
76, man. Fallout Online. That you can play by yourself if you want to. He really pushed that. He want to let you know if you don't want to play with your friends, you can have a solo experience in this game.
That's cool. Like, my biggest thing is that I play Fallout with VATS.
Yeah.
From what I understand, that's going to be impossible.
You can't do it with multiplayer.
Right, and so that leaves just the gunplay. And I think it's fair to say that the gunplay in Fallout is a weak part of that game. Like, the guns don't feel very good.
I feel like it's to the extreme level. Whether you have a lot of the small common guns, which all feel the same, then you have the extreme nukes and so forth, like the huge equipment and, like, yeah.
It's... Fallout 4 felt a lot better than 3 with just the free aiming, and I felt like Fallout 4 kind of wanted you to use that more compared to 3. So maybe they're going to make significant updates to the gunplay to make it better, but I don't know. It's cool, and I'm sure the Fallout diehards are like super excited, and it comes out this year. That's cool, but it's just it did absolutely nothing.
Well, we should also mention so it's big on fortification. Building your own base this time around in a world that's 4 times bigger than what it was in Fallout 4. They said it's not like one server is not with 1,000 people; it's with dozens, so smaller servers, and your progress follows your character. So, like, if you want to, I guess, play in your world or something like that, all my stuff will move on to yours. Right. I'm still trying to understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they really didn't explain it that well.
Yeah, you had to buy a camp or something like that.
Yeah, and like the base building in Fallout 4 was, I think it's fair to say, it was bad. Like it was not easy to do.
It was rough.
It wasn't fun
to begin with.
Right. And so I don't know. Like, it's just, even though they spent a lot of time on it, I just didn't like. I will say it looks more like a Fallout game I would want to play, like with the different monsters in the world. Like Fallout 3 and 4, I get it. It's a nuclear wasteland, but it's so drab. Like, everything looks the same. And I think that's why I always preferred Skyrim, because, there's so many different things. Yeah. But this game looks like there's new enemies. It's not just super mutants and raiders. Like, there's a lot of variety. So that's cool.
And then the mix with that and PvP, of course. Like, again, like other people living in your world, maybe trying to attack you, maybe trying to team up with you,
So I think it's very cool that they are trying something new. But I don't know, man. I just don't think that game's it's not for me.
And I think it's very important to notice, because I think this is the thing that's grabbing me in, just because it sounds so much fun, are the nukes. The nuke silos or whatever. Like, so the whole idea is that in this big world, I think they said there's like 4 or 5 of these like nuke silos or something like that. There's these establishments where you have to find these codes where... I'm sorry, you threw me off.
Keep going. Keep going.
All right, I got him. Pause for edit. Yeah, so the nuke silos, where you find these codes that are throughout your map, whether you do side missions or like kill people that have codes, you collect 5 codes, and then you can actually summon a nuke, and you can send a nuke to anywhere on the map, whether it's to another person building their base, their establishment, or maybe to like a boss or some enemies you can't kill. But it was really cool that they showed like the environment after the nuke would hit is nuclear environment.
Right.
Like, you need a suit. Maybe some creatures get deformed or something during this mess. But like, it's more the cause and effect of something that you did. But that sounds fun.
I think when I was watching this and then they announced Starfield, like, to me, Fallout 76 feels like the beginning of what's next for them. Like, they're trying out these systems to see how they can progress and make them better in Starfield. And I think that's kind of why it's just not grabbing me. I'm just like, this is cool stuff, but I don't feel like any of this is like groundbreaking or changing anything. Like all this sounds really cool. I can play with friends and all that, but I'm just like, it's fine. Like, whatever. But I feel like it's just like they're biding their time, and they're doing their technology to make Starfield better.
Sure.
And I think it's cool that we finally got that announcement. I think Starfield's been rumored for like 3 years now. I find it funny that it is actually called Starfield. I thought that would be a code name. But what was interesting, though, is that Todd Howard basically announced a next-gen game. He announced Starfield and said it's coming to next-gen technology. Yeah. So does that mean we're not getting it on Xbox One X and PS4? Like,
could it be for both gens?
It's possible.
It's this and as well as next gen and so forth. Still very vague. I mean, even the teaser was very vague. All you saw was just outer space and a planet make me next to another planet or something like that. Like, still don't know what this is. If it's going to play like Fallout and Skyrim just in space, you know? So it's going to be very interesting to see this. But I think it's very important that they mentioned it because this has been in question for quite some time, and it's official. And very, very important to mention, this is like their new IP within like, I think he said like 25 years of like releasing games. Like,
I mean, in Fallout, Fallout wasn't their IP, but they sort of reinvented it, but it was not their IP. So yeah, Starfield is like their first new big thing. So I'm excited about that. Like, I think that was more exciting to me than Fallout was. But again, I'm just not a Fallout guy, I think. So, but then they weren't done.
This was so premature.
Like, they announced Elder Scrolls 6.
They only did this to tease you and make you feel excited because Todd Howard said that this game is coming up after Starfield is made and so forth. So we got like 2025.
Yeah, like that's again, and maybe they're gonna expand their teams or something. But it's just this announcement was cool, but at the same time, I rolled my eyes. I was just like, really, like.
I mean, it was way early. Right. Like, I mean, awesome that we saw it, but did we need to see it?
But it's like, but my big thing is like, you just announced a next gen game, and we don't even know what those consoles are going to be. We don't know what they're capable of. We don't know any of that stuff, and it's just like, I don't think you gained anything by that because it's kind of like.
You get people excited. That's all.
But we knew that game was coming. Like
that's true.
Like there was no way they weren't going to make an Elder Scrolls 6. So it reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy 7. It was like you just announced something that you haven't even started. Like I don't know. I just I just kind of rolled my eyes.
Remember the teaser, man? It looked like an in-game city that was next to the coast.
Sure, it's
probably gonna be a real city.
Cool. Like I'm sure you're not even in freaking concept on that game yet. So that was it. I mean, and there's not much to say about those because, again, they showed absolutely nothing.
They showed us Elder Scrolls Blades for the cell phone.
Yeah, that looks cool.
Android and Apple.
Yeah, and they said that they're going to bring it to everything eventually.
You can play in portrait mode.
Yeah, so I don't know. That looked cool.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, but it's
something with cell phone controls I just don't get.
Yeah, I played what was that Epic game? Heaven Blade or something. They made a game that was kind of similar, like you had to swipe to do all your attacks and everything. But it's so looking back at everything that they announced, as someone again, like I'm one of those weird people where the stuff that sells me is Quake, and we didn't talk about Quake how it's open this week. But that's all there really is. But Quake, Doom, Prey, like those are the games. Rage, those are the games I love from Bethesda.
You're so weird.
I guess I am. But so I got to see what I wanted to see from them, so it was cool. But I thought some of those announcements were just.
I think you're underestimating the big idea of having online, like Fallout. Like that's what people wanted for such a long time, is to play Fallout with their friends, and necessarily to do things to kill creatures with your friends. Like the whole idea, like the whole trailer when you're showing like 3 people attacking whether a base or like a big scary monster, which is like it was awesome to me.
But to me, again, like I feel like it's like if they announced that for Doom, like it just doesn't. The mechanics of those games don't fit to me in a way that makes sense. And so again, maybe I have to play it, but it's just like Rage. If you told me Rage was co-op, I could see that instantly. Like that makes sense to me. If you told me Doom was co-op, I'd be like, same thing. That's why I'm like with Wolfenstein. I'm like these games aren't built. These games are built to feel badass.
And we can also. I'm sorry. No, we could also be taking an example of how they made ESO, of course. Like, yes, it was rough in the beginning, but now it seems like it's working. And since it's a multiplayer, I mean, it almost makes sense now. Since they made that, we might as well make Fallout Online as well. They kind of keep it going too. I mean, ultimately, I want to say they're probably the same games, just in different universes.
Right. Basically. One's going to be a smaller scale, clearly. But, So no, it was a cool conference.
It was good.
Yeah. So but it was rough. Bethesda normally just kind of gets on stage and shows trailers, but this year they decided to do the whole we're going to put our developers, and it was very awkward. Todd Howard though, he's just that man.
The dude's a boss.
Man. Yeah, like that dude, he just owns every situation, and it's just So if you had to give it a grade, what would you give it?
Well, I gave Microsoft an A. They had everything I wanted to see. I mean, and then one more, Starfield, and even again, Elder Scrolls 6. It's a top. Maybe it's a close B plus A minus. Like it's right there. Like I gotta give him a B plus. I would say B plus for sure.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, as a show, I think it was a little rough. But I mean, they brought the games and they showed what they needed to. So I think I'd have to give them a B. I gave Microsoft a B plus, and I think that's still the right thing. And they brought the big games. They brought Starfield finally, and they brought ESO. But I think announcing those games with literally nothing to show except a logo, which is more than EA did, or less than EA did. I wanted to, at least from Starfield, I wanted to, give me a 30-second something, show me something. And I think it's weird to announce a huge game like that and not show anything. Like, at least we didn't see gameplay of Cyberpunk, but at least we got a much better idea of that universe and that
trailer,
world.
yeah.
Right. So, like, and it wasn't long. It was like 90 seconds, but we know something about that game now. So, again, it's cool to see what they're working on, but with zero context, I feel like that's not the right way to announce a game. But
we'll have to wait for the next E3, I guess, because you would think Starfield has to be what they're focusing on now. Once 76 is out,
Starfield they have to be
the main.
But he said it's a next gen game, so will we see it next year?
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I guess probably not. So let us know what you liked or didn't like about the Bethesda conference in the comments below, and tune in next time for Square Enix.